Shattered veil, shattered expectations seems to be the popular phrase that is being said after this map's release, and I think I agree with that, especially the way that Black Ops 6 Zombies was going. Treyarch releasing content that in my opinion just wasn't up to par. Expectations for Shattered Veil weren't very high. I thought it was more or less going to be on the same level as the content that we had continued to get for this game so far. But I'm happy to say I think this is a step in the right direction. Do I think it's perfect? No, but what it has made me realise is the problem isn't necessarily the Zombies mode or the Zombies developers, it's Black Ops 6. And to be honest, it may not even be that, it's COD HQ. Okay, the Zombies team have to take some of the blame for the issues the mode has. If it's got a lack of good Easter eggs, bad storytelling, that's on them, that's in their hands, it's things they can do whatever they want with. So if it ends up being boring, that's 100% an issue with them. But Shattered Veil has made me realise now most of the issues with this mode, especially when it comes to the gameplay and map side, is to do with the game, not specifically zombies, because Shattered Veil is a perfectly good map. So where to start, because there's so much involved in a zombies map. I normally break it into 3 sections: the story, Easter eggs and gameplay. I suppose we'll start off with the storyline, and I think Shattered Veil tells the best story so far out of any BO6 map, and a lot of that is down to the way it's told. If you've played the Tomb or Citadel Day more, you are getting most of the storyline through intel, radios and documents. However, as you progress through the Shattered Veil main quest, half of the story is told through in-game events. For example, the liminal spaces where you can meet characters such as Shem, Malloy and Colton. There are NPCs in game that will tell their story, and as a part of the main quest you can interact with them. In this case we sacrifice them, charging the Sentinel artifact with prime materia. Okay, the story does still heavily rely on radios, but nowhere near as much. We've also got Sam, the big AI underground, who will also give you quotes. Not much, but towards the end of the quest she becomes a big part of it, handing the Sentinel artifact over to her. You get the point. Compared to any Black Ops 6 Zombies map before this, whether it be Terminus, Liberty Falls, Citadel or the Tomb, Shattered Veil includes a lot of interactive storytelling, which makes it so much more interesting. On top of that, the radios that we have, all of them, if I'm not wrong in saying, are from Richtofen, obviously everybody's favourite character. Something Treyarch did really badly in the Tomb is they gave us a lot of boring dialogue from characters we really didn't care about, and I think perhaps that helped because Treyarch hadn't really given us anything from Richtofen until this point. We had the odd radio, but we've been waiting 6 months for his story to progress, so for them to pile it all on us in this map made the wait worth it. Almost. I will say I do kind of wish there was a little bit more. There are about 12 radios from Richtofen. I kind of wish there was just a few more. I would have also liked more from the perspective of Sam, and I've got to be honest, this could just be me, but I kind of miss ciphers. I know a lot of people didn't like them, and I can kind of understand why Treyarch got rid of them, right? Because ciphers are very difficult to solve for the majority of people. You're probably not going to solve it yourself, you're going to look it up, and also because it's a cipher, just like in Revelations, there is the chance that it never gets solved, so there's story information there that we could potentially never know, but Treyarch could just make them easy to solve because we have a good community here. But I do kind of miss ciphers in Zombies, because now on day 1 or day 2 of the map coming out, we have all of the story information on it, but when we had ciphers in the game, sometimes it would take us a week or 2 or even longer to solve them, meaning, 1 month after the maps come out, we are getting new storyline information from it because someone's finally cracked one of the ciphers. So that's just me, it's a tiny thing, but even if Treyarch were just to add 1 or 2 ciphers into every map, I know that was kind of Jason Blundell's thing, it would then mean we wouldn't get everything within the first couple of days. We would potentially be getting new storyline information on the map weeks or months later. But yeah, other than that, the storyline they tell in Shattered Veil is probably my favourite so far. I really liked the way Terminus did it, and I actually liked Liberty Falls up until the end, but because of the in-game storytelling, especially through NPCs, this is how it should be done. That doesn't automatically mean it's going to be interesting. We could still be told a boring story, but that isn't the case with this. I guess tying in with that are the cutscenes. It's got 2, an ending and a mid-game cutscene, which is always appreciated. I will say though, I wish Treyarch would stop doing in-game cutscenes because they look trash. Honestly, if you compare them to the beautiful CGI cutscenes that we get from them, such as the Liberty Falls intro, the Citadel Day More intro, or we even go to Modern Warfare 3, look how good these cutscenes look, or even Black Ops 3 for example, a game that's 10 years old at this point, these cutscenes graphically look miles better than these in-game cutscenes that we have in Black Ops 6. That's not to say they're not interesting, but they look pretty bad. Obviously, because of the lighting in-game and because they're using in-game models, they just don't look right. You end up getting a situation here with Richtofen where he looks off. I'm guessing it's because of budget reasons and because Treyarch can probably make an in-game cutscene for themselves, whereas if it's CGI, it costs a lot more money and it's not Treyarch who do it, it's another company. But for a person that really appreciates cutscenes and loves the storyline, these in-game cutscenes just don't do it for me. I think in 2025, especially on a AAA game like Call of Duty, the most successful video game in history, we should be getting CGI cutscenes, not in-game. Another thing I want to mention that I kind of also noticed with the two-man Citadel Day more to a certain extent is there seems to be a lot less conversation happening between characters compared to the start of BO6 in Terminus. If you go onto YouTube and listen to videos showing you all of the conversational quotes between characters, the entire video will come to less than 10 minutes because there's just not much conversation and quotes said by our characters, obviously if you're picking the dedicated cast, compared to Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. If you go back to character quote videos from those games, you can genuinely listen to at least 30 minutes worth of voice lines. I would say past round 8 or 9, all of the conversations, all of the quotes in Shattered Veil have been said. So you get to round 10 and you're then listening to the generic voice lines. There's no more storytelling from your characters being told unless you do the main quest. Whereas back in the day, you could go on and your characters would just say random things to one another or to themselves that weren't, hey, I just killed a zombie. Maybe that's got something to do with the voice actor issues that Activision are having. We know the original voice actor for Samantha was replaced, along with a load of other people, but I wish there was more conversations and quotes from the characters you play as. Even as you progress through the map in Shattered Veil and open up new areas, on Terminus or Liberty Falls or Citadel Day More, you would open a gate to a new room and your character would say something about that space or the environment.
If you're done playing gangster, help us take down Richtofen.
Well, shit. Those gates aren't messing around. Our comrades will find a way. Comrades, please, make it the quiet way.
But on Shattered Veil, as you progress through the map, that doesn't activate quotes from your characters, which is what used to happen. It just makes it feel a little bit more empty. Okay, so moving on to the second part of a zombies map for me, Easter eggs. Starting with the main quest, I think it's good, definitely not my favourite. Like all of the main quests in Black Ops 6, it was the same for Cold War. This new modern era of zombies, it's incredibly easy. A lot of that's down to gameplay mechanics, you having armor, taking 20 hits from zombies. It's just not difficult anymore, but the main quest from a gameplay point of view is fine. Like I said, the storyline's great. I really like the boss fight, unlike, I don't know, for example, Patient 13 in Terminus. It's a lot more accessible, it's easy, and cool. Who doesn't want to see a T-Rex? And I love the name Z-Rex. But the steps in the main quest compared to other ones we've seen in Black Ops 6 are a little bit of a gripe. For example, there are quite a few parts that you need to find that have multiple spawns, and I'm not talking about 2 or 3 spawn locations. I can be talking about 10, 20, especially the bomb where you need to open up all of the crates, of which there are about 20 spawn locations. I think finding the bell can also be a little bit annoying because there's 10 to 15 spawn locations in that room, although it's only a small space. I prefer it if you're picking up parts, there are only 3 to 5 places it can spawn in. So that's my first issue with it. There's a lot of parts that you need to pick up as a part of the main quest, and the other thing is, well, the majority of it is essentially upgrading all of the versions of the ray gun Mark II, which can get a little bit repetitive. Yes, the steps are different for each and every version, but I prefer it when the main Easter egg quest is separate to the quests to upgrading the wonder weapons. We saw this in the Tomb, for example, although it was only the Ice Staff in that map. In Shattered Veil, I would say 80% of the main quest is upgrading all of the ray gun variants. It's okay, but when you think about it, it's kind of pointless because if you're doing this solo, well, you're only going to use one version of the ray gun. So you're upgrading all 3 of them, but then you're only going to be using one. I would assume Treyarch are doing this because, well, it extends the Easter egg, it makes it longer, and they don't have to add new steps. They can just integrate the ray gun upgrades into it. But I do think it's a tiny bit lazy. I prefer them just force you to upgrade one variant, and then if you want to, you can upgrade the others, but then move on, give us alternate steps. Apart from that though, the main Easter egg is fine. And then for side Easter eggs, when the map first came out, a lot of people said, hang on, Treyarch told us it will have a similar amount to Citadel Daymore, I think they said, and within the first couple of days we only solved 3 or 4, so we were like, hang on, did Treyarch lie here? But now that the map's been out for a good couple of weeks, there are plenty of really good side Easter eggs in it, so yeah, no complaints there. There's plenty to do on the side if you're not doing the main quest. So the final thing that leaves us with is the gameplay. I've seen a few other people say this as well, and I'm not saying Treyarch are lying here, but it doesn't feel like this is the case. They told us, right, this map is the same size as Citadel Daymore, which is a pretty big map. Well, I would say medium to big, but for some reason, even when you're not including the below ground section, Shattered Vale feels way bigger. The mansion itself is pretty big, the spawn area and leading up to the mansion is big, and the underground section is huge. Okay, there are parts of the mansion that you're probably not going to stay and train in, like all of the rooms. You'll just choose the main hall where the dinosaur is, or go outside or underground. But this is a really big map that has a lot of variety. The spawn and the areas around that, such as the conservatory or Shem's Henge, I love how all of the locations are different and unique. The underground section in the mainframe chamber where Sam is located, I love that area as well. I saw someone on a different video say that it reminded them of Transit and the power station where Avogadro was kept. I can totally get that. I love that you've just got this normal above ground section and then this scientific section underground. It looks awesome, especially with Sam watching you, and then you've got the tunnels behind there as well. However, the mansion itself, which I guess is the main part of the map, although the entrance with the dinosaur looks cool, I do think the rooms itself are quite samey and repetitive. There's not really much to distinguish them. The first week I was playing the map and I watched a load of other people live stream it and said the same thing. They were getting confused and lost, not knowing which part of the mansion they were in because all of the rooms pretty much look the same. On Dead of the Night, for example, if you went to the right side of the mansion or the left side, each room had character that would distinguish itself from another room, but in Shattered Vale, I kind of got used to it now, so I know where I'm going, but still a lot of the hallways and rooms look and feel very samey. I kind of wish there was more character added into each one of them that made them feel unique. But I still think it's got a good atmosphere that goes for the whole map itself. That was something I was worried about, because not just Black Ops 6, modern zombies from Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 3, and this game really lacks character and atmosphere compared to anything before that. Like I mentioned earlier, I've actually come to the conclusion that it's not necessarily the fault of zombies. The issue is actually the game, and more so COD HQ. I think it's an art direction issue of modern Call of Duties. They all look the same, right? Back in the day, Treyarch's games were more cartoony and animated, it felt like. Infinity Ward's games were more modern and clean looking, with more realistic graphics. Whereas now, Treyarch, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, all of their games look like a modern warfare game. And so the Black Ops series has been affected as well, meaning the Zombies team just aren't able to get that unique character that they used to because of this. So I still don't think Shattered Vale compares in atmosphere or character to anything pre-Black Ops Cold War, but they've done the best they can with the situation they're in. It's fine. There are certain areas where they did a great job. The entranceway with the dinosaur and the blue lighting and smoke. The mainframe chamber where Sam is located looks really cool. I think she does most of the work, but the surrounding area is great. So it's still not on the same level as, you know, I would look at a zombies map and go, wow, this looks incredible, this is crazy. But that doesn't mean they haven't done a good job. The gameplay loop of the map is also good. What I mean by that is how repetitive does it feel each time you go in? Is it different, or are you more or less doing the same thing every game? That's always been the case for zombies, really. Some maps and some games more than others though. This kind of goes into what I've just said about the modern era of zombies. Personally, I think the armor system mainly, but also the change to some perks such as quick revive and double tap, and the augment system has something to do with this as well. Modern zombies is just incredibly easy, which is automatically going to mean the gameplay loop feels more or less the same. If a game is that easy that you can just stick to the same strategy, you don't really have to try, then you're going to get more repetitive situations. I'm not a huge fan of modern zombie. I just think Treyarch really need to change it up now. I think in the next game, ditch armor and try and get more of a balance between older zombies, which was difficult, and new zombies. I get they want to make it more accessible, that's fine. You do that by making it easier, but zombies for me, gameplay wise, has started to feel really stale now. I think because we've had this same system from Cold War, so that's the fourth game we're on now, with minor changes here and there. In this game especially, it has now really become stale for me. So I want to see a big shift up in the next one. But right now, yeah, it is what it is. It can still be fun, but when you can take 20 hits from a zombie, you can understand my point. Besides from the boss fights, the general gameplay is not a challenge unless you're really bad at the game. the bosses or the elites in this map, the only one really is the Disciple. We don't have the Amalgams anymore, thank God. Well, unless you're doing the main quest, but we're just not going to count that. There's the odd Parasite here and there and the odd Doppelgast. I'm starting to get a little bit pissed with the Doppelgast now, the same way I was with the Amalgams, but I'll let them off because they're easier to kill. The main new elite enemy for this map is the Disciples. I say new in quotation marks because it's not really, we've seen the Disciples plenty of times at this point, but it's a new variation of them. Yeah, I didn't mind them at first. I'm kind of getting a little bit tired now because when you get to those higher rounds, I'm talking round 20 plus, 30 plus, which is not that high I suppose, they spawn in quite frequently and they're such a bullet sponge unless you're using the Ray Gun Mark II. They just take way too many shots. They're not difficult, which maybe makes it worse because you're coming up against an enemy that just takes a lot of time to kill, but then doesn't really do anything else other than make the situation more annoying for you by affecting the zombies around it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Disciples. It's not the worst enemy we've seen in Black Ops 6 Zombies by far. I just think past round 30, the spawns become too much. We don't need one every 1 or 2 rounds. I would say every 5 is fine. We also finally got a new special round. No longer is it the Vermin or the Parasites, it's now the, I can't even remember the name. I'm just going to call them the Toxic Zombies. Yeah, you've got to be really careful with these. As I found out in my first few games, you need to keep your distance, otherwise you're done. The damage they do to you is unreal, even on early rounds. So as long as you're standing back and as long as you're using a weapon that's going to kill them before they can reach you, they're fine. I love the audio design of these, especially when you kill them, they explode. The depth and bass from their death sound is incredible. I think they look really cool as well. I have seen a few people complain about them. I think they're fine as long as you're running away and shooting them at the same time. You can't stand still and shoot these things. But yeah, I like them. I just don't want to see them return in the next map. I'd like something new again. And that just leaves us then with the new wonder weapons and the new perk. Even though I'd much prefer to see new wonder weapons in every new map that we get, because we just had the Ice Staff, which is an old one in the Tomb. We've also seen the Thunder Gun in Liberty Falls, so half of the wonder weapons in BO6 now are reused, sometimes with little tweaks to them. The Wunderwaffe is the Wunderwaffe, you can't complain, it's good. The ray guns have new elements to them. All of them are unique, all of them have pretty good upgrade steps. Yeah, there's no complaint here. They're good and fun wonder weapons and add a different element to the game. I always love it when there are different elements that every player in the game can use. There's not just one, but I'm always going to prefer having a new wonder weapon to something old and reused that's been modified slightly. Again, I understand it's easier for Treyarch to do, even if the wonder weapon ends up being bad or just average. I don't think the Beam Smasher was the best in Terminus, but at least it was new and exciting. I don't really get excited for old returning wonder weapons at this point. I can go back and use them. I want something new because wonder weapons are cool, right? It's not a normal gun. I want to see what crazy thing Treyarch can come up with. So I'm a little bit disappointed they are reused, but at least they're good. And finally, that leaves us with the new perk for the map then, Double Tap. I was skeptical when I first heard the leaks and rumours about this coming back to the game because I thought, hang on, how are Treyarch going to balance this? Double Tap has always been one of the best perks in Zombies. There was a reason why they got rid of it for a long time. It wasn't in Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 3. We haven't seen this perk in ages. I think Treyarch got rid of it because it was so good. For them to bring it back then, I was saying, okay, but how are they going to balance the game? Because it effectively makes you twice as strong. However, I don't know if it's just me, and I can look at the augments, but it doesn't feel that OP. It doesn't feel that good. I wouldn't say it's a necessary perk for you to have like it used to be. Just in case you don't know, Double Tap increases your fire rate and at the same time increases your damage to effectively double. In Black Ops 6, Double Tap from its base version increases your fire rate, and then through the augment system, you can get double jeopardy, which means normal zombies at low health have a chance to die immediately when shot. Double standard, all non-critical shots do double damage, but only applies to normal bullet weapons. Double impact, double hits on the same target in quick succession, deal more damage, and then you've got mana augments as well, where you can increase your fire rate bonus. There is double or nothing, which I think is just a bad augment. Why would you have that? And then double play, killing 2 enemies in quick succession will have a chance to return 2 rounds to your magazine. But there isn't an augment there which does what the original Double Tap would do from the get-go, which was to double your damage as well. There are double impact and double standard, which means all non-critical shots would do double damage. That's fine, but when I'm killing zombies, I always go for headshots, which would be a critical shot. So this would mean I would then have to sacrifice the headshot, which does more damage anyway, and then shoot the body to get double damage, but I could just shoot the head, which you get more points from and do more damage. And then double impact gives you double hits on the same target in quick succession, but in zombies a lot of the time, especially when you've got a horde, you're going to be shooting multiple of them at once. You're not always going to be focused on one, killing one and then going to the next. You're going to just spray your bullets into the crowd. There isn't an augment that just straight up allows you to do double damage with no stipulation. So yeah, I don't actually think double tap is that good in this game. It's obviously going to make you better, but unless I'm wrong in saying this, you guys can let me know in the comment section below. I don't feel like it's anywhere near as good. So it's still a good perk, but it's not the OG double tap. With that concludes my review of Shattered Vale. Did it shatter expectations? Yes, I think this is a perfectly good map, but what this has finally made me realise is the issue isn't necessarily zombies, and it's more to do with Black Ops 6 and modern zombies. Call of Duty HQ. Zombies is not the issue, Call of Duty is.